Once upon a time, in the very city of Gloomhaven, a chilling presence lurked in the deepest shadows. The residents whispered of a creature known as Anku, the image of death itself. Anku was a figure unchanged by time, a skeletal being adorned in tattered robes. Its hollow eye sockets stared into the souls of the living, etching haunting memories that would forever haunt their dreams. Anku's arrival was always foretold by an unsettling hush which blanketed the city streets. The residents knew what it meant when the clopping of hooves and creaking of wooden wheels echoed through the night. They would lock their doors, utter desperate prayers, and hide from the inevitable encounter. Perched upon a rickety cart, Anku guided an emaciated horse through the deserted city roads. The horse's labored breaths mingled with the sighs of despair escaping its skeletal form. Its coat, once a shimmering ebony, had long turned ashen, and from its eyes, glazed over with an otherworldly glow, dripped tears of melancholy for the souls it knew to be marked for death. But it was not only Anku's appearance that chilled the hearts of those who bore witness. It was the reaping of souls that followed in its wake. Each night, the specter claimed those upon whom an indistinguishable mark had been silently placed. These unfortunate individuals would suffer the consequences of their imminent demise, tormented by visions of their own deaths until Anku would arrive to usher them across the veil. The chosen would awaken in cold sweats, plagued by relentless nightmares. Unexplained shadows danced beneath their beds, and whispers of forgotten sins echoed through the hallways of their minds. As their final moments in the realm of the living drew near, their friends and families would become plagued by an uncanny sense of impending doom, causing rifts within the bonds they once held dear. Anku's presence invoked desolation upon Gloomhaven. The city, once vibrant with life, became a desolate wasteland of dread. The valleys, once filled with whispers and laughter, now resonated with the sorrowful howls of souls clinging desperately to their fading life force. Stories circulated among the superstitious as they attempted to understand the twisted purpose of Anku's relentless visits. Some spoke of an ancient curse, while others speculated about a vengeful deity punishing Gloomhaven for its sins. But in the darkest hours of the night, all knew the truth. The unyielding grip of Anku was inevitable, and no one could escape its clutches forever. In the depths of Gloomhaven, where the veil between worlds grew thin, Anku continued its nocturnal pilgrimage through the city's forsaken streets. With each passing night, the air grew heavier, laden with the stench of impending demise. Rumors spread like wildfire, whispered in hushed tones among the desperate souls who sought refuge behind their locked doors. They spoke of the fates that awaited those ensnared by Anku's chilling touch. Some said the chosen ones would be engulfed in an eternal void, doomed to wander lost between realms. Others claimed Anku would lead them to a dreaded underworld, a realm of suffering and unspeakable horrors. As the Phantom Reaper roamed, the city's collective fear morphed into something far more insidious. Paranoia gripped the minds of its people, turning neighbors into potential threats and allies into mere figments of distrust. The boundaries of reality blurred as shadows elongated, dripping with malevolence, whispering secrets and tempting fragile souls toward their demise. It was said that Anku's appearance was no mere coincidence, and even the most skeptical among the citizens couldn't deny the strange occurrences that surrounded the creature's visits. Dark omens would manifest, foretelling the arrival of Anku, flickering candles that refused to be extinguished, chilling whispers that brushed against the nape of one's neck, and mirrors that reflected something far more sinister lurking behind their silver glass surfaces. Yet, despite the growing terror that gripped Gloomhaven, there were those who dared to defy Anku's dominion. Secret societies formed in the shadows, congregating in hidden corners to decipher the secrets of the creature's power. They sought ancient tomes and hallowed artifacts, believing that within their pages and relics lie the keys to understanding and perhaps even mastering the enigma of Anku. But as these factions delved deeper into the forbidden arts, fear and madness became inextricably intertwined. Their minds fragmented under the weight of forbidden knowledge, and their souls teetered on the precipice of damnation. Desperation drove them to commit unspeakable acts, sacrificing their fellow brethren in desperate attempts to outmaneuver Anku's grasp. The streets of Gloomhaven became a mosaic of despair, painted with anguish and fear. Citizens dared not venture out after twilight, lest they be marked by the bony appendage of Anku. The very essence of life seemed tainted, as mortality itself became both a fleeting hope and impending doom. In the darkness, Anku continued its macabre procession. The ravages of time left no trace on its skeletal countenance, and the strands of long, white hair danced like phantoms in the ethereal wind. The emaciated horse, now a stark embodiment of suffering, trudged forward, burdened by the weight of the souls it carried. Each night, Anku drew closer to accomplishing its mysterious purpose, and Gloomhaven trembled in anticipation of the final act. In the forgotten corners of a desolated city, Anku, the image of death itself, wove through the winding roads like a specter in the night. Its skeletal silhouette, draped in tattered shrouds, emanated a bone-chilling aura that froze the souls of those unfortunate enough to cross its path. The city's once vibrant heartbeat had faltered, muted by the fading whispers of hope. Driven by an insatiable hunger for souls, Anku's presence grew ever more pervasive. Its emaciated horse, a living testament to suffering, strained against the weight of its eternal burden, dragging the creaking cart through the deserted streets. The eerie sound, a symphony of dread, echoed through the city, casting an ethereal pall over the lingering silence. Eyes, hollow and ethereal, gazed upon the remnants of Gloomhaven, each empty gaze etching a macabre tableau upon the minds of those who dared bear witness. Anku's visage, stripped of flesh and clothed in decay, bore the scars of countless tales and resolved. Its long white hair, like wisps of frozen moonlight, whispered secrets of forgotten realms and shattered dreams. On the nights when Anku came, its atmosphere itself convulsed, bending to the will of the skeletal harbinger. Shadows thick as tar oozed from every crevice, dancing with distorted glee beneath a sickly moon. At its approach, the air grew stagnant, suffused with a scent of decay that clung to the very fabric of reality. Rumors spread, tales spun by desperate tongues that dared not betray their own fear. They spoke of those unfortunate souls caught in Anku's relentless grip, trapped between the realm of the living and the realm of the dead. These tormented spirits, forever teetering on the precipice, yearned for release, their silent pleas lost to the melancholic wind. But there were whispers that not all who encountered Anku perished. Legends emerged of those who, by some unforeseen stroke of fate or twisted destiny, escaped the clutches of the skeletal tormentor. They would emerge, forever marked by the harrowing encounter, driven to the brink of madness by shadows that danced incessantly in their periphery. As Anku's presence lingered, the city transformed into a ghostly realm, an abode for lost souls and lingering regrets. The remnants of life, mere echoes of what once thrived, found solace in decrepit alleyways and dilapidated buildings. Their whispers blended with the plaintive wails of the wind, a symphony of sorrow echoing into the void. Yet, amidst the desolation, an intangible thread of resistance began to weave its way through the city's decaying tapestry. A few brave souls, weary but determined, sought solace in unity. They formed a clandestine resistance, whispers of hope binding them together, their purpose dwarfed by the malevolent presence that loomed outside their sanctuary. In the shadows, they concocted plans to free Gloomhaven from Anku's curse. Deciphering cryptic symbols and unraveling ancient texts, they ventured into forbidden depths, their sanity tested as they bargained with forces beyond comprehension. But for each step toward liberation, Anku's reach spread further, imposing its inescapable grip upon the crumbling city. As the moon cast its ethereal glow over Gloomhaven's sorrowful streets, the looming presence of Anku persisted, carrying with it the weight of unanswered questions. In the darkness, where forgotten memories whispered and unusual alliances formed, the city teetered on the precipice of an impending fate, shackled by the unknown that awaited in the clutches of the creature itself. As the macabre night stretched on, the Resistance's efforts intensified, fueled by the flickering embers of hope. They delved deeper into forbidden knowledge, unearthing ancient rituals and long-lost incantations that promised to rupture the grasp of Anku upon the shattered city. Their rituals enacted with trembling hands, their voices tangled in fear. The Resistance forged a plan to confront the embodiment of death itself. They knew that salvation lay within their collective defiance, their unyielding spirit puncturing the veil of despair that enshrouded Gloomhaven. Guided by the flickering torchlight, the determined few stood vigil at the heart of the city, a once majestic square now tainted by a mournful stillness. Their breaths, shallow in the darkness, echoed with a symphony of anticipation and dread as they awaited the inevitable arrival of Anku. A shroud of silence settled over the city as the clopping hooves drew nearer, accompanied by the creaking of worn wheels. Anku emerged from the night's embrace, a haunting presence that froze the very air. Its hollow eye sockets gleamed with an eerie luminescence, fixating upon the Resistance with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. With a resolute voice, their leader stepped forward, his words dripping with defiance and desperate determination. He challenged the power of Anku, demanding answers to the agonizing suffering that had befallen the innocent denizens of Gloomhaven. Anku's grotesque features contorted into an eerie semblance of a smile, revealing a semblance of amusement hidden within its skeletal frame. It spoke, its voice a raspy whisper that slithered through the night, weaving burial dirges into the souls of the living. Seek not understanding in the realm of the living, for my dominion lies in the echoes of eternity. Anku's voice echoed, resonating with a profound sense of futility. Undeterred, the Resistance unleashed a torrent of ancient incantations, arcane forces that lashed against Anku's spectral form. Shadows writhed and recoiled, swirling around the creature as it fought against the onslaught of defiance. A tempest of light and darkness clashed in a cataclysmic dance, the very fabric of reality teetering on the brink of annihilation. The battle raged on, a symphony of chaos and dread that engulfed Gloomhaven. The forces of the Resistance, fueled by their unwavering belief in the vanquishing of death's embodiment, found strength in their solidarity. The city itself seemed to pulse with resilience, an undercurrent of life that Anku had long overlooked. But as the climax of the confrontation neared, whether Gloomhaven would find salvation or succumb to the eternal grasp of Anku remained uncertain. The battle against such a primordial force held the weight of countless souls, their hopes and fears entwined in the outcome. The conclusion, veiled within the depths of darkness and the flickering light, would determine the fate of Gloomhaven. Would hope prevail, banishing the creature that had cast its ominous shadow over the once thriving city? Or would Anku's inexorable grip tighten, condemning the souls of Gloomhaven to an eternal twilight? Only time would unveil the answers. As the final battle between defiance and despair waged relentlessly through the night, marking the turning point in a tale of darkness, a twisted dance of life and death, bound intricately within the cursed fate of Gloomhaven.